So during this week, I posted a poll on our page, and I asked everyone to choose a topic from the list of topics that I provided. So I posted leadership, politics, freedom of speech, democracy, human relationships, emotions. So a variety of different topics just to, see what people are thinking. And most of them chose leadership. And that's why we're having this topic here for today's discussion. And I couldn't think of a better person to have on our little show here to tell us about leadership than Gema Ramirez. Gema, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a few words about what you do?
Thank you very much, Maria. It's a pleasure to be here. We met recently, one of the groups that I did a talk, a presentation, and I'm delighted that you invited me today. Well, I'm a transformational coach, and I also have the Consciousness Academy, which is an online platform where I do. It's kind of, I'm rebranding myself at the moment, so I'm rebuilding it. And that's where I teach about conscious leadership and the 3 pillars of conscious leadership, which is actually the leadership itself, flow and presence. I think presence is very important. So that's mainly what I do. I'm also the president for an association called Women of Global Change. And with that, we want to change the world and bring things that do things to better people's lives. But that's in a nutshell. I'm in Spain, and but probably my British accent comes from 25 years that I spent in the UK working and living.
Yes, tell us a little bit about what you did before becoming a coach. You said you were in the IT department of different corporations.
Yeah, I was in the corporate world working in, well, I started in customer services, then I moved into training, IT training, then that led into project management and change management. And part of change management is coaching. So because I'm very much into my spirituality as well, and at the time I was kind of starting, it felt like the next logical step to move into coaching. So I kind of left the corporate and started my own business as a coach.
Yeah,
3 years ago.
It's a very logical transition. You're helping corporations move into a new phase, change management, and now you're also helping individuals.
That's right. Yeah.
Through change, and there's not a better time than now that people should be handling change in a way that it's healthy and empowering and not losing their path.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy for a lot of people right now, for sure.
It's not easy, no, it's not easy. But it can be done, And we have proved already that we can adapt to change very quickly, because one of the things about change is the ability to adapt to it. And I mean, this change, this thing that came to us just happened, and in 2 days we were at home, really not knowing what to do. But we went through, there is a curve that shows how change goes over time, and we moved through it really quickly. So we have that as a benchmark for the future to say, okay, I can adapt to change very quickly. I don't have any excuse now to not to do any personal transformation, any new habits that I want to adapt, apart from just not wanting to do it or not putting the energy into do it. So we have a huge benchmark for the future.
And before we move to our other, to elaborate on this topic, Sava, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit why you enjoy culture on the ground? What do you do? Where are you from?
First of all, I'm from Cyprus, Limassol. I'm historian, and the reason I like cultural environment, I have one page on Facebook called Group of Historical Research. My specialty is new and modern history. It's a research between two Germans and Cyprus.
Sava, if you could stand back, we can still hear you. If you kind of shift, can you okay. I mean, I don't know what kind of computer you have, but we can still hear you.
You hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
You hear me?
So you
Zamora
have
from
a group on
Cyprus,
Facebook. You have a group
Historia.
on Facebook. Yes.
For history and for history research. We have maybe 3,000 members around the world, especially in Greece and Cyprus, because the most is in Greek. I am historian and my specialty is in new and modern history, the relation between two Germanies and Cyprus. I'm interested in politics and diplomacy as well, and of course, foreign relations.
Great.
And leadership as well.
Okay. Thank
you. I like the.
Yes.
I'm active person.
So tell us the name of the group one more time for those who want to join the group.
It's in Greek, called Omada Prothis Historikis in Greek. In English, it's not, we don't have a name.
Omada, sorry, we couldn't hear it.
Omada Prothis Historikis in Greek.
Omada Prothis Historikis, okay.
We have also English articles, but the most is in Greek.
Okay.
Because the most members is in Greece and Cyprus.
Okay. 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 All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And keep your questions for Gema about leadership after she tells us a little bit about what makes a good leader. What are the traits that make a good leader, Gema, according to your experience?
Yeah. To me, the leader that we need for the future and what makes a good leader is someone who leads from the heart. And some people have asked me, what do you really mean? I thought everybody could understand what leading from the heart means, but that is not the case. So to me, leading from the heart is someone who embraces values such as love, compassion as the basic for leadership. Those people who see, if you're in a corporate environment or a business environment, their people, their team as the family. If you're in a family, obviously you operate from that as well. In your community as well, or whatever you are creating, if it's a group, an association, a foundation, they are your family. Those are the best leadership models, because what happens is that you're putting people first before money, before products, before anything, before success. So that's the main trait of a leader, and that's exactly what we need going forward. Leaders who are heart-centered and are coming from those values. Also, it's very important. I mentioned before the 3 pillars of leadership that I teach. One is conscious leadership, which is leading from the heart, and I have 9 qualities that I can mention as well. Another pillar is presence. I feel that being present is one of the greatest gift that any person really, but mainly a leader. And well, I think we are all leaders, but we're talking about leadership in other environments. Is present is the greatest gift that you can give to another person. Because if we stand from the point of view that you have a team of people or a family or whatever it is that you are leading, when you are present, you're fully there for them. Being present is really being grounded, being here, and just being with a person. You're not in the past, you're not in the future. And one of the things that leaders do that can really make a difference and impose the presence is to listen fully with the heart. I don't know. I'm going to another. Oh, it's gone now. I could hear the phone. So listening to another person involves real presence when you're doing it from the heart, because what it does is that you are listening to the person, every single word they say. Normally, when we listen, we are thinking, oh, what am I going to say next? Oh, yeah, she's making a point. What can I ask next? Or, oh, yeah, that happens to me as well. And then you're thinking about something else. So you're not here with the person. You're in the past or you're in the future with the next question, or were you going to reply to that person? And that's what we mainly do. And what that happens is that we're not fully with that person. We're not loving them 100%. So practicing the act of presence, being here with the person, with all your senses, just focusing on what the person saying, without interrupting, without doing anything, is one of the greatest gifts that we can give to people. And we can get to presence by practicing meditation, mindfulness, or just by practicing the act of real listening. So that's one pillar. And the other pillar is, we mentioned about conscious leadership, leading from the heart, and then is flow. To me, flow is the energy of the universe moving forward. It's just the evolution. And when we are flowing, we're just allowing that energy that is actually our essence, the essence of the universe, to flow through us. And in that flow, we're actually listening to the voice of our spirit, to the voice of the universe, to the voice of our intuition, to the voice of our heart, instead of listening to the mind. Because there is a big difference between listening to that voice that knows it all and listening to the mind. When we let the mind take the lead, the mind doesn't know how to do it, because the mind is a tool for the heart, for the person, for the soul. So when we are focusing on the logical things and giving the mind the job that the heart should do, the mind does it, but it doesn't do it well. Because what the mind does well is to protect us. The mind protects us from doing it again, and it does a good job. But we don't have to listen to it all the time, or maybe we can listen to it but have a conversation with the mind. Okay, I know that you are warning me that if I do this, it's going to happen again. It happened in the past, and it might happen again if I get involved into this project. But I want to give it a go. I learned from the past, and I'm going to try again. So that's a conversation that we can have with the mind when it starts protecting us.
Gemma, to interrupt you 1 second, is it something similar that what we hear in the news and in other outlets these days about the mind-body connection?
Mind-body connection, yeah, mind-body is actually one thing. The mind and the body cannot be separated. It's us who see two different things, but the body responds to the mind. So everything that happens into our body, or even the shape of our body, is a state of mind. Illness is a state of mind. We can decide in the current situation if we want to be healthy and sing to all our cells and tell them that we are healthy and that we want to be healthy, or maybe we want to fall in for what we're listening and give in and fall sick. I know it's really radical what I'm saying, but it is true. Body and mind as one thing. We separate it obviously because it's easier. It's easier to perceive the body as one and then the mind. But they are one, and the body and everything that we see is the product of the mind. I can hear you.
After that, so you said so far we have to lead from the heart, to be a good listener, to be present, and to what was the last one?
To live in flow. Live in flow.
Oh, okay. There's more. There is more things though, right? That make a good leader.
Yeah, well, I define the good leader. So those are the kind of the pillars of leadership. Mm-hmm. And then knowing that, like we were saying, mind and body connection is one, and the body is the product of the mind. It is also really good to know for everyone to know that we create our reality with our thoughts. So the way it works, the way we work as human, and that's what I like to explain to people, because as soon as we understand how we function as human, we can understand what's happening to us better and respond to things instead of reacting from previous experience. So the way we work as humans is that we have 3 principles that we follow without maybe knowing it, but it happens. One principle is the principle of mind, or universal mind. And this is the universe I was talking about before. So it doesn't matter what beliefs you have or religion you follow, even if you don't believe in anything. Everyone might believe that there is something greater than we know, that is the creator of all that, even from where creation comes from. There is an energy that flows through everything. Some people call it universe. You might call it God, you might call it life, love, but it's that energy that makes us alive, that makes a little seed grow into a plant and give flowers and fruits. It's that energy That's life. So that's one principle that exists. Principle number 2 is the principle of consciousness, universal consciousness. That's what we are. We are actually consciousness, being aware of ourselves. That's it. It's that part of our brain that registers that we are alive. I am here right now talking, and I'm aware. So those 2 principles are okay, but we have something that is missing, because how do we create the reality that we see? We have the mind, from where everything comes from. I have the consciousness, I'm aware, and I have the capability of creating things. But what do I do to create things? And that's principle number 3, the principle of thought, which is the material that the universe uses to create reality through consciousness. So what happens is that a thought comes in, and if we allow it in and we give it energy and we give it attention, it becomes part of us. And we give, as consciousness, we give birth to reality. So if I choose to engage with a fearful thought, like, oh my God, we're all going to die, this thing is going to kill us, the world is going to be disastrous after the end of all this, then I'm going to create that for myself. And you will experience that thought anchoring in your body as emotions, because emotions come after the thought. And then you have the feeling of, this is dangerous, we are in real danger, something bad is going to happen. Or you can choose to engage in
causing stress. If your thoughts are if your thoughts are negative, it's going to cause stress in your body, and it may eventually lead to diseases, right?
Exactly. But no thought is negative or positive. It's just a thought. It's our judgment that makes it positive or negative. So if it's negative, based on fear, then that's when you start feeling all the anxiety. And then if we engage with that thought for a long period of time, then we become ill, as you were saying, anxiety and other things.
But how are these relating to leadership, though, what you're saying right now?
Because when we know how we function as human, how we create our reality, then you take charge of your life. Because at the moment, what's happening is that most people are sitting at home, not being able to go out, watching TV, feeling really scared and feeling like a victim. I'm the victim of my circumstances. This is happening to me. Look what they're doing to me. But when you are aware of those 3 principles, you take leadership of yourself. You take personal responsibility, and you think, hang on a minute, this might be true or not, but I don't want to be stressed out. So I'm going to take that thought that caused all these emotions and all this stress and let it go. And maybe another thought, more positive, will come in. So you let it go and you empty it. You let it go and you stand present. That's why present is so important, with the flow of life. And maybe the next thought will be a better one. So that's why it's so important, because from that point of one with everything, because when you are present and aware of your thoughts and being able to choose which thoughts, then you are leading yourself in a conscious way, and then you can lead others in a conscious way, not reacting, but being responsive to the needs of others.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're familiar with a philosopher called Michel Foucault.
No, haven't heard.
He's a French philosopher that during the 80s he gave some lectures in the French Academy, and he was talking about this idea of meditation that he was taking from the Greek and Roman tradition. And he was talking about this idea of, being able to control your thoughts and being aware of your thoughts. And this is basically what one of the practices that related to meditation.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And you said something about controlling your thoughts. I would say managing your thoughts rather than controlling, because controlling sounds or feels in the body like contracting, while managing is more expansive. Oh, I can manage my thought, but controlling is using the mind. And when you hear control, the mind kicks in. Oh, there's something to control. That's my job. But managing it engages the mind with the heart, and the heart keeps leading. So I can manage my thoughts. And when I feel some emotions building into my body, I can feel it in my stomach, or then I can move that and move the thought. and wait for another one. And it sounds easy. It might be or it might not. It's just a thought away, but it takes practice, like everything in life.
And how do you react to how quick different leaders of the world today reacted to the crisis? I was reading in the Harvard Review today. They wrote a piece about different reactions of different leaders in the world for the pandemic. And they give the example of the NBA president, Adam Silver, who on March 11th, the day that the World Health Organization decided to declare coronavirus as a pandemic, he decided to cancel all the events for the NBA, which is like a $8 million industry. So regardless of what money the players and all the industry will be making, he decided to cancel the upcoming tournament, as long as they were praising the New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, who also was very honest with the people and came straight up and said, this is what we need to do, even though this may possibly have led to him having a negative impact on his reputation. But they said actually that actually had the opposite effect on his reputation. So what is your take on that, on those ideas?
Well, it seems like those people who acted sooner were caring about the people. And that person that you mentioned last, he or she probably thought, oh, this might go against me, but it didn't in the end. So they did it even though they could have suffered, the image could have suffered, because they put people first. And in the end, they won, because service, it always brings success, real success. All the leaders, and I can put the example of the president of my country, which is the closest I have, we didn't react very quickly at all. They didn't. They told us that, Spain is not going to suffer. We have only a few people getting infected, and that's it. So we were doing everything. We did everything that was planned. We didn't stop it, even though we had already people infected. We didn't listen to other countries, and they didn't care of the people. They wanted to do the things that were planned to do because they were important for the government. And we can see through the leadership, since we've been confined, that they don't really care. Or that's my feeling. They don't really care about us, and that's the feeling that we all have. We don't feel protected by our government, and you can see that it's not really a government. Is a corporation, maybe trying to get money and power, and you can see that because we still haven't got enough masks to cover people, and so many resources are scarce, which shouldn't be the case. Can hear you.
Yes, I was going to ask Sava if he has anything to add or ask, or any thoughts that you want to share before we have like 10 minutes before we close the session.
Can I ask Ms. Gema for the background of the leaders? Is important for our government.
Sava, we have a trouble hearing you. So can you type your question in the chat? Yeah, so until Savas writes his question for us, and he comes from a historical background, so he may bring some other examples and concerns. I was also listening to somebody addressing this issue of leadership, and he was saying that now it's a very uncertain time. This is the most uncertain of times. And this is a time when we're getting out of the automatic pilot. So everybody, we're going to work, routine, and things are like kind of stable. But now all of a sudden, we're called to stop this automatic pilot routine. And this is actually the time when we become intentional about our actions, because we're really like aware of every single thing we do, because we're not in our, You know what I mean? I wanted to ask you about that. What do you think about this idea?
The uncertainty that we're experiencing. Yeah, we're running through uncertain times, and probably more uncertain than ever. We don't know what's going to happen in the end, and that's making people feel very anxious. But I've been thinking about this a lot, because really, we are uncertain all the time. We can make a plan. We can make a 10-year business plan. I can make a life plan. I can have a dream that I want to come true. But I am not in control of the future. The goals that we plan, or the dreams that we dream, the plans that we make are there to put us in action. But really, we might change. Some events might happen that take us into a different direction. We are always living in uncertainty. That's why the idea of being co-creators with life itself is very useful to know as well, because I have a plan. I want to create this in my life, but I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to come to me. So the ability to adapt is very good, to have the resilience and all that. So I hope that people are realizing, being at home, that uncertainty is here all the time. We know nothing. We never know what's going to happen. We can plan it, but it doesn't mean that our plans are going to happen as we plan it. So yeah, we're living in uncertainty, but what people should realize is that we are always living in uncertainty. Now is more real, because everything has stopped. You cannot go out, you cannot go to work, and everything has kind of, wow, bang. But we are living like that all the time. You don't know from one day to the next if you're going to be alive tomorrow, if you're going to have your job tomorrow. Things happen like that to everybody. It's very clear at the moment that we are living in uncertainty times. So yes. good skills to develop while we're doing this is what I said: adaptability, resilience, and flexibility.
So Savas is asking a very interesting question. He says, what's the significance of ideology behind the work of these leaders? So because, you know, every leader has a party that supports him in order to become, you know, the president or the prime minister. So what's the significance of ideology in all that, in making a good leader or not?
I think when you asked me the first question, what makes a good leader, I said that they lead from the heart. So I think regardless of the ideology they have, regardless of the background they have, if they have not developed the moral qualities, the spirituality, because people are so scared of
the emotional component.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence. We are so scared of talking about spirituality in corporate world, in the politics. Well, I'm sorry, you can be the greatest leader with so many MBAs, but if you haven't got an open heart, you're gonna still put your benefits and your profits before people. Mm-hmm. So developing the heart is the most important thing. I don't care what background they have. Obviously, if they know about, because skills you can always learn, or you can get a consultant to tell you how to run your business. That happened to me when I moved from corporate to having my own business. I realized I don't have a clue. This is totally different. What do I do? Get a consultant to teach me the skills. But I knew the values that I wanted to have in my business. Mm-hmm. I wanted to create a conscious business and work to raise people's consciousness. Yeah. But the consultant tells me how to do it. So I don't care about what the politicians have done or have studied. I care about the values, the human values and the morality behind the person.
And of course, you know, sometimes spirituality as well as ideology can become tools in hands of people who want to manipulate, nonetheless. So, I mean, we have to always be careful either way. Either we want to be secular or we want to be spiritual. We need to kind of be aware that these are tools that can be used either way, right? And of course, spirituality is different than religion, is my understanding. And it's also that something that Michel Foucault mentions in his lectures as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Religion is totally different. Religion is following some dogmas that some people brought to the world. What spirituality is following your own inner wisdom, your own inner heart, connecting with the humanity that we all are, coming from the perspective that we are all one heart and everybody cares. That's the spirituality I'm talking about.
Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. Anything else that you want to add before we close? Sava, Gema?
I think Sava's writing. I would say I would invite, while we wait for Sava's question or comment, I would invite everyone to just go into the hearts, always, but especially in these times that we are facing uncertainty deeper than ever. Going into your hearts, I have a really wonderful meditation I can share if they want to do that. And
that would be great. I'm going to post this on the wall of our page, of our group, and you can post the link if you have a link for a meditation. And I'm going to invite everyone here who watches this to please engage in the comments and let us know if you have any questions. I know we touched some big issues here, and I'm sure people will have questions. So let's continue the conversation. We're not finishing it here. I'm sure this is something we can continue talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to hear and answer any questions you might have. So open your hearts and start learning to live from the hearts if you're not doing that, because that's the basics of happiness and fulfillment, when you find your own inner drive, your own inner purpose in life.
Sava, do you have anything, or are you typing something? I think his camera is frozen.
Oh yeah, it looks like it.
Okay. So I think we're going to finish here. Gema, thank you so much for joining us from Spain. You have 20 minutes before you start your next session.
Thank you.
I look forward to continuing the conversation in the comments below. And Savas is saying, can he ask a question about the revolution? And the question about the revolution is what, Sava? Can you be more specific? Revolution of history and leaders. So will we have a revolution in the way we understand our history as humans, and in leadership and the role of leaders in bringing that change? So will we have a revolution? What do you think about this?
We will have a revolution. I think what we're having is an evolution of consciousness. That's exactly what we're needing right now, because I think it was I never remember. I think it was Einstein who said we can never solve a problem from the same place that created it. So that means that if we have so many problems today, like I'm not going to mention because we're all aware of what's happening in the world, we cannot solve it with the same state of consciousness. We have to evolve as human really quickly and move from the fear-based culture that we have right now to a love-based one, where we put people first.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm notified that this is coming to an end, our conversation. So let's continue at the comments. Let's continue at the comments because we have the continuation of the question about revolution. Thank you, everyone who watched this. Please join us for the next session next Sunday. I'll post an announcement. Thank you, Gema. Thank you, Sava, for being here. And have a good afternoon.
And you too. Thank you.